to my channel. So today I wanted to do a bit of a parenting chat and talk about everything like mum life, parenting and everything that kind of goes with it. So I have an almost 17-year-old now who is my oldest, and I just wanted to go through all of the different things that I've learned along the way and just generally talk about parenthood and motherhood in general. So this is my youngest little Phoebe, who's just having some snuggles at the moment. She is going through some serious teething right now. So she's going to join us and have some cuddles. But I just wanted to kind of chit chat with you guys and just talk about parenthood, because I know you guys will find it relatable. I'm sure if you've got children, any age really, but if you've got older children as well, you can kind of understand. I just can't believe that she's almost 17 and that I've been a mum for that long, and it just blows my mind. It's just so crazy. Like, I know she's only like my youngest year, she's only like 9 months old. It's gone so fast. I know everyone says that, but it really just does. And like for me personally, I found that as soon as they started school, the junior age, so primary school then, so infants and juniors, once that was over and they reached like comp age, those like 5 or 6 years when they're in comp, it's flown by completely, and it's just flying by. So I just wanted to kind of chat about things. So the first thing I wanted to say is that there is no right way to parent. I know, like, especially now, there's a lot of pressure on people to do things a certain way, and I would say like every child is different, every parent is different, every household is so different, and there is no right way. But the main thing I think I've learned is just to be relaxed. I think that's the advice that like most professionals will give you, is just to relax about things, or try to relax about things. Easier said than done sometimes. But I do think that the more relaxed you are, the more calm you can try and be. It just helps you so much. Even like when they're really little and they're babies and they're waking up a lot in the night, trying not to be stressed. I know it's very hard when you're tired, but if you try not to be stressed about it and just know that eventually they are going to sleep, we all need sleep, you know, it just makes it so much easier. And then with children, try not to stress over things, like if you're worried about your child's development, or if they're in school and they're getting bullied, or if like you feel like they're behind in their work or something like that, try not to like put pressure on that, and just have a more relaxed approach has really helped me. So my first daughter, she actually had speech therapy. So she had some speech and language issues, and she had speech therapy when she was in school. And then all of a sudden, it was so crazy, she just came along with her speech, and by the time then she went to comprehensive, she was where she was meant to be. So if you have any concerns like that, and you're worried about things like that, I will say they do pick up quite quickly. And I never forget like going to parents' evenings and like the teacher saying to me, "Oh, you're so calm," and you know, because like obviously not with my first, but by the time I had my second, I just learned that children learn things when they're good and ready. It's like I've always said, babies are born when they feel like being born. They develop how they want to develop. They do things when they're ready. And no tick chart or assessment can tell you about your child. And they will do what they need to do when they need to do it. And I remember being in Isabel's, so for those of you who don't know me, I haven't even introduced myself. So I'm Amy, and I am a mum of 3. I also have a stepdaughter who's actually the oldest. She's 18 and she comes to stay with us a lot. And well, she did anyway when she was younger. Obviously now she's 18, she has her own life. But I have almost 17-year-old, almost 13-year-old, and little Phoebe who's 9 months, and they're all girls. Girl power. Yeah, I just remember going into like parents' evenings with Isabel and being very open-minded, and you know, saying, oh, you know, they do things when they're ready and things like that. And I could just see like the relief on the teachers' faces, and they always said, oh, you know, it's such a good, you know, attitude to have, because you know, not that there's anything wrong with like worrying. Everybody worries, and I'm not saying that I'm like this calm parent. I'm not. Like when it comes to like stranger danger and knowing where my children are, and that's another thing I wanted to speak about as well, I would say I'm like the opposite of calm. But when it comes to like learning and school and like milestones and things, I would say I'm more relaxed. I wasn't with my first. I was always worried. Then by the time I had my first and gone through speech therapy and seen her like come on and everything, I relaxed more, which you do tend to relax more with your second child anyway. And then with my second, I just enjoyed it for what it actually was. And I think there's so much pressure out there these days that you have to be a certain way, or you have to be educated a certain way, or sorry, she's just playing with my phone case. As you do what you gotta do, you know. She's like chewing on that. Her teething is like ramped up so much. She's just chewing everything inside, but this is like safe. There's nothing in there that she can get. So if she wants to chew it and it makes her teeth feel better, then that's fine by me. But yeah, it's just a lot, isn't it? The parenting like world, it's definitely changed a lot. When I got my first, obviously, you know, you were judged at court. People are going to judge. Some people are judgmental and some people aren't, and that's just something I think we need to accept. I feel like my camera's not clean. Hold on, guys. I look a little bit better. Maybe a little bit. The lighting here is a bit strange. I've got the lighting coming through, obviously, because I don't want it to be dark in here, but then it's quite bright because my living room is south-facing, so I apologise for any weird like lighting changes and things. What can you do? Not a professional here. So it looks a bit glary. I do apologise. I think I'd learned then, and now like with Phoebe, I kind of know what to expect up until the age of about 17 anyway. I know what to expect, and I don't want to be spending my time worrying about everything, every little milestone and that. I just want to like enjoy her, because I know how quick it's going to go, and it really does go so fast. I know everybody says this on paper, is so true. I just feel like as soon as they started school and like I went back to work and everything like that, it just flew by. It just went so quick. And then when they get to comp age, then like you're not as involved in school, and you know, obviously they grow up quite a lot, so it's very different. Then moving on, something I also really wanted to talk about is like me being like overprotective with my children, which I know I am. So I've always been actually funny story is that when Jess was younger and she was in like primary school, junior's age, so she would have been about 9 or 10, her friends used to call me the mean one, which, you know, in a funny way, because she didn't have the most freedom. So I've never been one to like let my children walk to school on their own. I didn't let them like walk to school by themselves or go to school by themselves until they were like in comp, and I still probably would have gone with them if they'd let me. I don't like my children like wandering the streets and things. I like to know where they are all the time. Like even like my oldest, who is 16, almost 17, like if she goes out somewhere, she texts me like every half an hour just to make sure she's alright. She like puts her location on and things, and she just knows that I worry. And then, you know, if like I message her, she just messages me back. Like now I get really panicky, and I've always been the same. I like to like know where my children are all the time. Like when they're little, they literally don't leave my sight, and I'm always with them, and it's just always the way I've been. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. I'm comfortable with it. Do you know what I mean? I like to know. I like to have my eyes on them. I like to know who they're with. I'm really not a big fan of like them sleeping over. Obviously, family's different, but like they've had friends that they've wanted to stay over, and I've begrudgingly said yes. And I struggle with it a lot. Like as soon as they're there, I get really bad anxiety. And my oldest, she really wasn't one. She only slept out like once or twice. And then she really didn't like it, so I kind of got away with it with her because she didn't like to sleep over others' houses. But even if they went over people's houses for like dinner and things like that when they're younger, I used to get really bad anxiety with that. And then obviously as they get a bit older and they have more freedom and they're going out with their friends and more like comp age and things, I just struggled with it a lot. And I wanted to like follow them around and things, which I didn't do, but came close, I can't lie. So I've just always like being like really overprotective, and like with my children as well, I've set up like, even from a very young age, I've set up like a password system so they know. Yeah, so I've set up like a password system with them so that they know that if like someone who's, you know, if someone did approach them, if they haven't got a password, they shouldn't go with them, things like that. I've always had that in place, and you know, I've just always been very, very big on security. Yeah, bless her. Her teething is so bad right now. I feel so bad for her. So we're having extra snuggles. But yeah, I've always been really like about, you know, really on it about like security and things like that. And I think like having had older girls now, obviously the older two are closer in age, and like with social media and things, it's not something I love. And even like my oldest, when she turned about 16, even she said that if she had, you know, if she had a child, or if she could choose for her sister, she wouldn't allow them on social media for a long time. Just things like that. I'm not against technology, I love technologies, you know, I don't limit like screen time and things like that, as long as they've done their homework, things like that when they're younger, you know. It's not something I've ever done, I'm quite comfortable with it. But having access online and being able to talk to strangers, that's something I don't allow. So any game, like Roblox for example, anything like that, just playing blocks. What can I say? This is how I can film. If we don't have this like loud background noise, I'm not filming. So I apologise. But anything like Roblox, any game where you can like communicate online with strangers, I don't allow. And like, obviously, you know, it's different as they get older. I think Jess was about 15 when I started allowing her to go on more games like that, because obviously she was getting much older. And before she went on games like that, we had the big chat about strangers and meaner people in the world, if you know what I mean, which I'm sure you do if you're a parent, and you talk about like safety with strangers and all that side of things. And I've always been very honest with the girls about, like, you know, the harsh reality of the world, basically. But obviously you can't have those discussions until they're a little bit older. So when they're still like younger, so when they're still like primary school age, I wouldn't allow anything that they can go on like computer games, but they wouldn't be allowed to like connect to the internet, like chat with people. So it's not that I limit screen time, I just limit like the connection they have with like social media and strangers. So like things like WhatsApp, I only let them talk to family members. And yeah, I'm quite strict with it. Obviously Jess was my first child, so I learned with her. And with Isabel now, she's going to be 13 in a few months, and I really don't want her to have social media, even though his sister did. I really don't want her to have it. So I think if obviously it's not just up to me, it's something I will talk to her father with, you know, it's something I will have a conversation with their father about too. But it's something I really don't want to have. I just feel like social media, I know I'm saying that as I'm talking on YouTube, which is obviously a form of social media, but no, things like Instagram, Facebook and all that, I just don't think is needed. I think when you're older and you kind of understand it more, that's when you can make those decisions. And you know, I think because my own 16-year-old daughter has come and said to me that she hadn't gone on it, and she even takes breaks from it herself, because it can be quite a negative place. I'm not saying it's all bad, it's not, but it can be quite a negative place. So I think for your own 16-year-old child to tell you things like that, that kind of says a lot for it for me. And I think with Isabel, I'd probably make some different decisions. Obviously I want my children to be treated fairly, but I think there's some things, you know, some things you just learn as you go along, and that's okay. So with this little one, other than things like family, I don't think she'd be like having sleepovers and things with her little friends. You know, no offence, it's not a personal thing at all. It's just not something I've ever been comfortable with. And like, literally, like, the girl's friends would literally live in the same street, and there'd be a couple of houses away, and I literally wouldn't be able to sleep. And I think that, you know, I'm not comfortable with it. And I think that's another part of having more children. The more you have, the more you realise what type of parent you are, mum, dad, you know, how you parent and things, and the more you realise that you've got to do what's right for you, and it doesn't really matter what others think, you know. So that's kind of what I've learnt. And obviously now they've got quite the age gap, so I think that it's given me the perspective to know, like, you know, because we all learn things. Nobody goes into parenthood and gets everything perfect and right straight away. So I do have that behind me, that, you know, I've had those experiences and kind of know the parent I want to be, and I feel more comfortable in that. So I think that's the most positive thing I can think from having the age gap and everything like that, you know. And I would say, like, the age gap, pros and cons, like, I would say the best thing to see is, like, her with her older siblings who dote on her so much. It is just amazing and lovely. And again, I would say it's having the perspective of quite, 17 years of parenting. You kind of know what to expect. Ooh, stickiness. Still got that reflex. You kind of know what to expect a bit more. Obviously, they're all unique. And you kind of feel more comfortable in your own parenting skin, you know. So I say that's the biggest plus of having a large age gap and everything. And then the downside is for me personally, the only real downside, like, I don't feel like, I don't really feel like I'm 38, to be honest, which is how old I am, if you didn't know. I feel like I'm able to, like, parent Phoebe exactly the same as I parented Jess. I know it's going to be the same for everyone, and I don't feel like it's been any different. The only changes that I've seen is, like, with pregnancy and baby weight, it's taken longer for me to be able to fit back into my jeans, and body changes, like, a little bit different, which doesn't bother me personally. But other than that, there hasn't been any major differences. So yeah, I can't say that I've noticed, like, a huge thing, which, if you're watching this and you're going to have a really big age gap, and maybe, your other children were born when you were a lot younger and it's been quite a long time and you're worried about that, I would say that parenting is parenting, age is a number. And I personally feel like you can be very young and be a very good parent, or very old and be a good parent. It's more about the person, and age is just literally just a number to me. That's just how I feel about it anyway. It's not something I've ever thought of, like, as a negative thing, how old you are, whether it's young or older, it's not something that I personally think about. I know a lot of people would, but it's not something that I think, oh my god, you've got to be this old and all that. That doesn't really bother me. But yeah, there's nothing, to me it's the same as when I had my other girls. The only thing I do wish is that they were born closer together, so that they'd all be in, like, the same-ish stages of their lives and, like, grew up together a bit more. But other than that, there isn't anything, like, age-wise that I found to be, like, a positive or a negative. I think, oh yes! I think, it's just as amazing for her as it was for my first, And I will say, if you are, pregnant and you're worried about an age gap, or you feel like you're older, or whatever it may be, then, you're never going to regret your child. So once they're here, you know what I mean? You're never going to regret your children. Stop panicking about things like that. It's, and I come, like, my brothers are a lot older than me. My oldest brother's, like, 15, almost 16 years older than me. And now that we're grown up and we have our own kids, it doesn't make any difference. But yeah, I just wanted to touch upon a few little things about, like, parenting and age gaps and things like that. Because for me personally, like, the age gap thing, I've never had an issue with it. It's never something that's bothered me. Obviously, like, with parenting, you are going to get, like, unfiltered comments. I've talked about this before in one of my other videos. But that's something you're going to get no matter what, I just feel like parenting and motherhood in general and pregnancy, it just brings unfiltered comments and people thinking that they can say whatever they want to. But I think the main advice I would give is being confident in yourself. Other people aren't living your life, you're living your life, So if you feel like you want another little one and it's been, like, 20 years since you had a child, then that is what you want, and you're not asking for anything off other people. So I would say to just do what feels right for you and your family and your situation, because other people aren't living your life, and quite frankly, it's no one else's business. So that's what I would say. But anyways, as you can hear, this little one would like a snooze. She'd like a little nap now. So my older two have gone for a walk up this really nice nature park that's close to us. But we're staying in because we got some deliveries and things waiting for, won't we? Yes! And this little one woke up about 10 times last night for some transparency, didn't you? Because the teeth was definitely ramped up. And then her nap this morning, her sisters were, like, chatting and things like that. So she did wake up from that a little bit earlier than she wanted to, so I'm hoping I can get her down now while the older two are out for a stroll and doing a few things together, and she can have a bit of a snooze. I will say, like, obviously as you have more children, again, this doesn't really matter how old they are, but as you have more children, like the younger ones, then their naps and things, they do kind of take a back seat, because obviously, you know, the children, you know, you can't expect little ones and it's just not going to be quiet, you know. So that is the thing, isn't it? But she'd probably be up anyway, because we're teething, aren't we? We're teething, yes. She's so distracting and cute, isn't it, Bob? I just love this age. They're so, like, interactive, and she started doing the really cutest little thing the other day. She started clapping hands, and her sisters think that is so sweet and amazing. They love it when she does it. It's so cute. So yeah, to watch your children together is just amazing. Amazing. So yeah, that would be like my number one thing that I would say about parenting. If you're struggling or if there's anything going on, is just enjoy it for what it is. And then it is literally, it's your parenting journey, no one else's. Don't let people pull you off what you feel is right. You know, go with your instincts, what you feel, and just remember, you're the one living your life, no one else is. And if they don't like it, then that's their problem and not yours. And if you're happy and your family and your children are happy, that's all that matters. Nothing else matters, because you won't look back. You know, when you're old and grey, you're not going to look back and regret any of your kids. You know, it's just, you won't. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it interesting and relatable, and it wasn't boring for you. And as always, thank you so much for supporting my channel. It does mean so much to me, and I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Say bye bye.